Today, we're going to be talking about some ballers and some bums. We're going to talk about who's good, who's bad, and we're making a list, you know?
Everybody in between.
This is how it works. List combined. My list, his list combined. We averaged it out.
Who we want the most.
Who we want the most for 1 year, next year. Number one, consensus. I think everybody agrees with this. We know Tom Brady agrees with this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First, Mike Evans. He literally single-handedly said, Jameis, come on. I'm going to keep you for 5 years. I'm going to hold you above water. You know, He was like, come on, Jameis. You just throw it up to me, and I'm like, boom, I'll catch it. Boom, I'll catch it. Yeah. Mike Evans does it all, you know.
Well, he doesn't do it all, but he's really good at what he does do, which is manhandle you.
And he just jumps
catch
up.
It right over you. And he doesn't care how many people are there. The only thing that can stop Mike Evans is his own hamstring. So,
I will say, honestly, I don't think Mike Evans gets talked about enough. People talk about Hopkins. Some people talk about Julio as the number one. I don't know if Mike Evans is the number one, but he's definitely up there.
Yeah.
All right, enough with Mike Evans. We know how good he is.
Next up is Chris Godwin.
Some people might say he's better than Mike Evans.
The Robin to the Batman that is Mike Evans. One of the best route runners in the league. Yeah, they have the perfect balance between like Mike Evans, who doesn't always need to be open, and Chris Godwin, who is always open. So they can do it all between those two. They don't really have a third guy.
But do you know why they don't have a third guy?
Why?
Because they don't need a third guy. Jameis threw 30 touchdowns last year. He went 30 for 30. There's a reason.
Yeah.
These guys know how to catch the ball and run with the ball. They're touchdown machines.
Yes.
And you know what?
What?
They still got 3 good tight ends. Gronk, O.J. Howard, and Cameron Brate, you know? Yeah.
Gronk definitely boosts this up for me. They would not be number one without him.
Gronk, number one tight end. O.J. Howard, possibly number one tight end on most teams, you know? He's super talented, even though Jameis doesn't really like tight ends too much, you know?
Uh-huh.
But, and then we got Cameron Brate. Either low-end tight end number one or pretty good tight end number two. All right, anything else you want to say about them?
No, nothing at all.
All right, Chiefs. They're just speedsters.
Uh-huh.
The reason Patrick Mahomes is so good, let's be honest, is because of his arm. But but his wide receivers help him a lot because Mahomes, he can just chunk it 60 yards. And you know, there's only like 3 guys in the league that can catch that ball.
And 2 of them are on this team?
Exactly.
Yeah. Kelsey also is a freaking beast. Maybe the best tight end in the league.
I would say he is the best tight end in the league.
Phenomenal receiver. Not quite the blocker that Kittle is.
But we don't care about blocking, you know.
But
we want straight catch passers.
Mm-hmm. Sammy Watkins, when he's on the field, when he's not hurt or whatever, is still good. Even though sometimes people forget about him.
Yeah.
I mean, he made an impact in the Super Bowl for sure. Who's next?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by this. Especially because Amari Cooper. People are like, Amari Cooper, man, he's not that good. Well, he is. Look at Dak Prescott's stats before Amari Cooper and after Amari Cooper. It's like night and day. It's incredible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they had Michael Gallup, up-and-coming, second, third-year player, you know? But, up-and-coming, a lot of people love him. I'm not as high on him as most people are, but he's still good. Mm-hmm. And then you know who they went out and got with this already good wide receiver core? Probably the best wide receiver in the draft. Some people might say Jerry Jeudy. Henry Ruggs? No. CD, you know, is a wide receiver that can do it all. Like, he's got the route running. He's got the run after the catch, and he can make big plays, you know? Mm-hmm. What do you want to say about this?
What else do I need to say?
I don't know.
I mean, outside of those 3, kind of awful. Jarwin, he's okay.
Blake Jarwin, the tight end.
I'm not really high on him. But, Amari, probably the best route runner in the league. Needs to be more consistent, needs to stay healthy, but still. Also, you got Michael Gallup, who is pretty good number 2, had like 1,100 yards or something last year.
Yeah.
And then you just throw in, a guy in the slot who's CeeDee Lamb, one of the best rack catchers in the league or in college. So,
well, he is in the. I mean,
he was probably going to be a number 1 for like half the teams that he went to. So here we go. That can't hurt, right?
Yeah. The Browns. They're our next team on the list. Most people are putting them in the gutters after last season. People are like Odell, Jarvis.
Small brain.
All overrated. But you know what? They're still amazing. You know, guess what? They added Austin Hooper too. What? How does that make sense? I mean, they have Njoku, but I don't know if he's still going to be on the team by then. Probably not. They're probably going to trade him.
Yeah. Odell and Jarvis both had surgery this offseason, so look out for that. Odell, if he can just, be like he was with Eli Manning and just take it 80 yards to the house every now and again, that'd be good. I think Jarvis is the best slot receiver in the league.
Yep.
And then they've also got, they got Higgins. They brought him back. He's a decent third receiver.
Okay, next team. Number 5, the Saints.
See, this is too high.
You think so?
I had them in 9th.
Really? So
Yeah.
I had the Saints at 4th. I mean, Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. Michael Thomas might be the best wide receiver in the league.
No.
Some people talk about it. I don't personally believe it. I think it's DeAndre Hopkins. You can argue it, whatever. Emmanuel Sanders. The dude's stone cold killer, especially after his ACL or Achilles injury 2 years ago. What he's done since then. Traquan Smith, he's all right, but he's a good third, Jared Cook, he's like 56 years old by now. But tight ends are you don't need to be elite to be a good tight end, Does that make sense?
Well, he's really old, but he's still probably top 10 tight ends.
That's what I'm saying. So you got a top 5 wide receiver. You got top 20 wide receiver in Emmanuel Sanders, and then you got a good tight end. I mean, what more do you need,
Yeah. I'm just not so for me, personally, I think Michael Thomas is a lot more scheme dependent than some of these other guys. So that's why I took them down a little bit. Emmanuel Sanders is good, and he's a perfect fit to play the slot for them. But outside of that, what else do they really have? I mean, I know they cycle these guys in and out all the time, so it doesn't really matter for them. But from my point of view, if I'm trying to decide which receiving core would I want on my team, I went with a lot of teams. I had them in 9th.
Yeah.
So.
All right, next team.
Who's next?
The Falcons. Julio Jones.
See, I had them at 4th.
Yeah.
I think Julio's the best receiver.
I had them at 10th. Just because they're one of those teams where, like you said, Julio might be the best wide receiver in the league. Definitely top 3. And then Calvin Ridley, he's going to...
Yeah, he's definitely a star in the making.
Yeah. But after that, I mean, there's not a lot there, I mean, they have Russell Gage. He's all right. But Hayden Hurst, their tight end, not good at all.
Well, he kind of got buried for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think he's okay.
Yeah, I think he's okay. I'm just saying... They're one of those teams where you got 2 really good wide receivers, but other than them, you don't really have a lot there,
Yeah, they did bring in Laquan Treadwell. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to start in the slot for them. Is it Russell Gage? We'll see. He was a special teamer for a while, but he did get some playing time last year.
7, the Chargers. This is the injury squad. You got Kidney Allen. Mm-hmm. You got... I don't know, knee or ankle or whatever Mike Williams always messes up. And then you got Hunter Henry. Has he even played a snap in the NFL? Yes. But other than that, not a lot. I mean, he's good when he plays.
Yeah.
I had them. I think they could be top 5 because their talent is there. But can they play a full season together? Probably not.
Keenan Allen is a really good route runner. Mike Williams I think he's pretty underrated. It's unfortunate because his quarterbacks always kind of had let him down so far. Mm-hmm. But in terms of contested catch, he's good. And then I think he's really underrated after he gets the ball. I think he's pretty good at that. They need a third. I don't know if it's going to be like KJ Hill from Ohio State in the slot or whatever, but, that remains to be seen. And then Hunter Henry, like you said, he's good, but I feel like he tears his ACL or Achilles or something every second week. Who's next?
The Cardinals.
I had them at 6th. Probably would be in the 20s if without him.
Like I said, personally, I think Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the league, especially with the numbers he's put up without having a real quarterback before Deshaun Watson. And you know what? Now he has Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And other wide receivers around him.
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, both pretty good wide receivers. Mm-hmm. Fitzgerald's getting a little old, but...
Basically half tight end now.
Mm-hmm. And then Christian Kirk, I thought he was going to be better out of the gate, but he's been all right.
Maybe as a number 2, he'll kind of take off a little bit more. Anyway, next up.
We got the Lions. How about you take over here with the Lions?
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
Kenny G.
Kenny G is a freaking beast, dude.
He is.
I had them at 10th.
I had them at 7.
Kenny G, just for reference here, I looked up contested catch numbers. Kenny G has 41 contested targets, which is the most in the league. And on those targets, he has 36% completion percentage, which is higher than Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones, and Terry McLaurin, who is the rest of the top 5 in that category. Mm-hmm. And he has the most volume. Oh, yeah, and then they have Marvin Jones, who is I feel like I always kind of like look at Marvin Jones and I'm like, oh, Marvin Jones. But at this point, you can't really ignore him anymore. He's just really good.
And then T.J. Hawkinson. Yeah. I think T.J. Hawkinson can be a top 10 tight end at the end of this year. He's not there yet, nowhere near close. But from his highlights last year, just looking at his highlights, it was good. His lowlights, don't look at those.
Rookie tight ends never are good. So I'm going to give him the pass, but now he needs to,
All right, our next team, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the most potential team there is, or receiving core there is. Does that make sense?
I like the highest ceiling.
Yes, highest ceiling.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy is a really, really good route runner. Mm-hmm. Probably will be, top 5 or 10 in the league, coming out the gate.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, he, in terms of, like we talked about with contested catches, he's pretty good at that. He's not quite on like a Mike Evans or Kenny G level, but he's got a lot of potential, and he does some other things as well. I mean, he's a all-around threat. And then, KJ Hamler's a freaking burner from Penn State. So just need to get him the ball. I don't know if he's going to play the slot or what's going to go on there, but
I think this team really fits well together.
And then, at tight end, they have probably the fastest tight end group in the league. They have Noah Fant, and they also added Albert O.
Okay, well, this has been No Facts Needed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can listen to us on podcast, Apple, or Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube at No Facts Needed. And see you guys next time.